Tickle the kids with a swimming cucumber shark that uses regular food to power it along.
I don't like bees.
The morning stream. Prepare the virgin. I don't like the sound of that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to TMS. This is the morning stream for May 19th, 2025. I am Scott Johnson. That's Bobby Frankenberger. Hello, Bobby.
Hello. How is everybody?
Good. I'm great, man. We talked about it a little bit pre-show, but another shout out to Bobby for sitting in for Brian today, who is traveling from Kansas City back to his home of Colorado today.
Yeah, I love sitting in Brian's chair. I always use it as an opportunity to wear a Hawaiian shirt, and this one is even a Marvel themed Hawaiian shirt.
Oh my gosh, you're right on the money here. Then look at the shield I see.
Shield. You got some Iron Men in there.
I see somewhere. A Spider-Man somewhere on the side there.
Yeah. There's a Hulk back here.
Yeah, as my kids would say, the Huck. You got a little Huck on there.
Yeah,
they used to love the Huck. They were into it back in the day when they were kids. Daddy, can we watch the Huck? That's what they would say.
Now they love the Huck Tua memes.
The Huck Tua. Oh, everyone does. Who doesn't love the Huck Tua memes?
Yeah.
Especially the Huck Tua girl, who continues to be under such heavy scrutiny for her meme coin that I can't imagine living her life right now. Anyway, hey everybody, it's the show. We're here. It's TMS, and we wish Brian nothing but a speedy trip home. He may be listening. I don't know. I don't know if he's in. I haven't seen him pop into chat. He was listening on his way out on Friday to the Friday patron show, but we wish him safe travels, and we'll see him tomorrow. Hey, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Nice couple of cool things. Bobby is also going to give us a science segment like he would normally do at the end of the show. Steven's out with some meetings once again, so we got a ton of Bobby today. And then Bobby again during half-asses, not even called half-asses. We're doing some kind of science quiz with Dunaway today, so that'll be fun. But
it's a science-heavy show.
Yeah, lots of science. We're not going to screw this up with any kind of like mumbo jumbo bullshit. It's all going to be based on
pseudoscience. No pseudoscience, all actual science.
Yep, and I'm sorry, all you Genesis fans. But no studio science as well. We're not doing that. Not Genesis. He was on his own by then. Why is his name slipping me? Why is that happening?
Frank Apple.
That's it. Frank Apple. That's it. No, it's what's wrong with me? He did the soundtrack to the Tarzan for the Disney. Phil Collins. Jeez Louises.
Yeah, I'm terrible with. I am terrible with names, just like the little meme goes.
The clip. Isn't it weird that all you have to do is mention that and immediately we just hear the clip?
Yeah, it really is.
I don't know. We should talk about the science of that sometime. Just the triggering of certain words, songs, sounds, and why humans respond that way. It's very weird. Anyway, Bobby's here. So no science mistakes today. It's not allowed. I don't care who you are. Chat room, keep it together. Don't make flat earth claims. Nothing weird about, I don't know, what could they get wrong? What would Tadpole get wrong about science today that would be egregious? Like, I don't know, the sun rotates around the earth. That'd be a bad one, right?
That would be bad.
Yeah.
Because that's not true.
It's not true at all. That's what I mean. It's like, that's terrible
maybe
science.
They'll get it wrong that there is... It is not. Maybe it is not too early for a fish sandwich. I don't know.
Oh, that's not bad. What if I came to you and I said, and I said with all confidence, right to your face, Bobby, I said, snorting an ounce of dirt every day will give me long life and protect me from disease. What would you do to tackle that bit of pseudoscience that I just presented to you? My attitude is like, prove it you can't. That's the level I'm at.
We will have to agree to. That's my approach when people, because I get this question a lot. What do you do about people you know or people in your life or that have this weird belief or this kind of pseudoscientific belief or just plain wrong belief? My answer is always to smile and nod because for many reasons. First of all, I'm not going to change their mind.
No.
So I'm not going to change your mind about snorting dirt, Scott.
No. I'm going to keep doing
Second
it.
of all,
Yeah.
if I even want to have a chance of changing your mind, it's not going to be because I presented you with a list of the facts. In fact, there's a lot of research that shows that there are some things that are what we call knowledge deficit problems. There are some things that are like that where you can present someone with the facts and they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. But most of the time, people didn't come to these weird beliefs that they have because they got the facts wrong.
Right.
Most of the time it's from some other angle. And so I just nod and smile, and then I text my wife, and then me and Stephanie make fun of them later.
There you go. That's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And the healthy way to do it. Oh, by the way, speaking of Stephanie, your wife. So
Yeah.
I was annoyed in Vegas that I got maybe...
I'm sorry, I'll tell her to stop annoying you next time.
I got maybe 12 seconds time with you and Stephanie at the same time. I just never...
Yeah.
Like the first time she came, we did all kinds of hanging out. We went all the way... Remember we went down to Container Park, had a little treat down there.
Yeah,
hung
that
out,
was nice.
talked.
It was just you, me, Kim, and Stephanie.
Yeah, it was lovely. And Kim said the same thing. She's like, oh, I can't wait to see Stephanie again. Turns out this trip was so pulled in 100,000 directions that I hardly saw her. And when I did, the most valuable moment we had together was the last night at the bar after the live show as the concert's ending. She comes running up to me because she's going up to get ready and start packing and, hit the hay before you left. And she just came to say, oh, it was a great time. I just want to say thanks and all the stuff you do. And it just annoyed me to no end that this was the only real time that we got to spend with each other. So what I'm trying to say here is that Stephanie's awesome. She's super cool and makes Bobby seem a little less cool because she's so cool. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like you're cool.
But then also conversely, she makes me more cool because she is that cool.
Yeah. Yeah. This was the year. Cool. This was a year where I felt like I just didn't get enough time with anybody. I also did in a weird way. So it's like I can't fully complain.
Well, you were there earlier than you normally are.
Yeah.
Weren't you?
Yeah. We got there a day earlier than usual. Yeah.
So you literally had more time than usual. But I felt the same way. I feel like, I don't know, the Vegas event's getting really big, and that's great. It's so cool to be able to see so many people, but in other ways, it just makes for less well, I'm just going to say all the same things you just said. Less one-on-one time with certain people, but it's a give and take, and it's just a consequence of. Consequence is the wrong word, because I'm trying to walk around making this sound like a negative. I'm not. I don't want it to be a negative.
Yeah.
But it's just the natural conclusion of the event getting bigger.
That's right. So
more people getting involved.
And that's the idea this year at Nerdtacular 2026. We're just going to make it a month long. Just everyone put your life on hold and come on out here. And our people already think the tadpole's a cult. Let's really nail that home.
Opening up. Me and Scott have already talked about finding a compound that we're going to.
Could be permanent.
Use.
Might be a thing we all just get there and go, oh, you know what? We can
are you ready to make an announcement, Scott, that we're going to have a permanent tadpole compound?
We're going to live off the land. There'll be Kool-Aid. Wait, maybe not. Maybe not some Kool-Aid.
Let's stay away from the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I'd like to. You don't have to wear certain kind of sneakers. I'm thinking of all the cult stuff I've heard.
We want it to be a life cult, not a death cult.
No. Yeah, we don't want that. But anyway, it is lovely having you here. It is hilarious that you're here because I had a dream about you.
Oh, did you?
And it's not nearly as sexy as
not
it sounds.
A sexy dream.
No. There's how this went. So I don't know why you're in it. For the life of me, I cannot figure out why you're in it. It's like that time I had that one with Brian and his head on a chair. I still to this day don't know what that was. But in this dream, we are either in some kind of. It seemed to change around a bunch. It was at one point it was an airport. At one point it was a mall. And I don't just mean a mall. I mean like Mall of America, large mall, like huge, unending, forever. For a hot minute in the dream, it felt like we were in Qatar for some reason.
Big airports are kind of like malls with planes.
A little bit, yeah. And it did start as a place that had planes, but it sort of just changed. And as most of us are aware, the dreams we have, they make sense while you're in them. But I got out of it and went, what the hell was that place? Didn't make any sense. But the point of it was busy, full of people, and really, really stressful. And we were running around trying to get stuff done. And Bobby and I were there for I don't know what reason. In the dream, it felt important. Outside of the dream, I couldn't tell you why we were there. But we lost our stuff. And by stuff, I mean like whatever bags we had with us that had like notebooks, phones, computer stuff, all our personal belongings, our driver's licenses, passports, all that stuff were in these bags. And while we sat down somewhere to do, I don't know what in the dream, I don't remember, but somebody stole our bags. And we spent the whole dream running end to end like that, an airport the size of the one in Hong Kong, just massive. I guess it was an airport, whatever that place was, trying to find our bags. It was the most stressful dream. And every once in a while we would be separate. We'd be like, all right, we'll split up. We'll get more coverage that way. So let's go. Okay, Bobby says. And he runs that way, I run this way. And then we're all running around trying to find our stuff. And then we would run back the other way and we'd meet in the middle and go, did you find anything? No, not a thing. All right, we'll be back here in 10 minutes. And we'd run the other directions. Oh,
yeah, because we couldn't text each other.
No phones. No way to do any of that. It sucked because for whatever reason, it felt like the stakes were really high. If we didn't find our stuff, the best explanation I can have is a lot of people's anxiety right now about coming into the country or perhaps being a shade of skin slightly darker than others, and you might get a spot. These sorts. Some of that I think maybe was bleeding into my head. I don't know, but it had that level of anxiety of like, if we don't find our stuff, they're going to see that we have no identification, and we are going to go into whatever gulag they have at this airport. And then that dream ended, and I was so stressed out when I woke up. I woke up and I was just like, that sucked ass. That's terrible. I almost sent you a text and just said, get out of my dreams.
I hate when that happens. Get into my car. There we go.
Get out of my dreams and get in my car, Bobby.
Yeah. Anyway. I hate it when that happens. When you wake up in the middle of, and you wake up like angry, or you wake up like scared or super sad. Like, I don't want to wake up that way.
Nope. Especially if it's in the middle of the night and you still have some sleep to do, because then you're going to be like having to come down from something, and
I don't know. At least you do have some sleep left. Like, I've had it happen where I just wake up like that and it's time to get up, and I'm just like, well, I guess this is how I'm starting my day.
Ugh.
Yeah,
that's no good at all. Kim did this the other day where she had a dream I cheated on her. And she woke up. Yeah. She woke up with all those feelings and was just mad at me for the first 2 hours of the day. But also she knew that it was a dream and she shouldn't be mad, but she was still mad. And
Stephanie had a dream like that one time, and she told me about it. And she woke me up and told me, that she had the dream. Oh, I had this dream and you were cheating on me. I was so upset. And I laughed at her. And that was the wrong thing to do.
Oh, man. At that moment, for sure, right? Because she was still raw from it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, well, and the reason I laughed is because the idea is so absurd to me, right? That would happen. I was like, I basically was like, are you kidding? Look at me. Like, where am I going? Like, there's nowhere that I'm going.
No,
it's fine.
Yeah, everything's good. I didn't cheat. This is funny in retrospect. They just need time. They have to have time to process it.
Right.
Yeah, I felt it was a similar thing with her, but some people in the chat, somebody said they woke up crying one night. Somebody else said they woke up laughing. It's weird. Yeah. Our brains are weird, man. And that distance between sleep and wakefulness is an odd place. And I'm pretty sure the weirdest dreams I've ever had are not in the middle of the night. They're usually right before it's time to get up.
I feel like there's been fewer bizarre, weird dream stories from you lately, Scott.
Mm-hmm. I know. I haven't dreamt much. That is the truth. And I don't know what that's about. I have been sleeping better, generally speaking. And that is
better sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is down to just better habits, better pre-bed habits. I'm not reading my phone at night. If I read at all, it's like on a Kindle or actual book. And that's great.
Yeah. That's great and all, but those dreams had some really great stories for content for the show. So I really need you to cut back on the healthy habits.
Yeah. These things that actually have a way of permeating into the other parts of your health and having you lose years on your life. It'd be good to go back and get that going.
Go back to big meals of nachos 30 minutes before bed.
Yeah.
Go back to whatever is causing you to have these crazy dreams.
I think that's
dairy, lots of dairy.
Lots of dairy all night, like right up till I sleep. I think an ice cream cone at 11:45.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing tonight. I'll let you guys know how that goes. I actually, it's my waking hours that are a little more stressful these days. But stress sleeping is not it's not good. Don't do it, guys, if you can avoid it. Well, anyway, there's that. Hopefully, I don't dream that again. We never had any resolution. That was my biggest beef. Is a lot of my dreams do have some resolution by the end. This had none. It was just Bobby and I on our own in a place we shouldn't be without any identification, and it felt like we were screwed.
I tell you that is how we would act if that happened.
Yeah, and it made me really feel for people who have that in their real life, whether it's an actual, trying to travel or trying to flee a country that's awful and then being treated poorly, or whatever the situation is.
Yeah,
just that
it makes me a little bit stressful to think that not 20 years ago, what did people do when they encountered an emergency?
Yeah.
Without smartphones.
I know. I think about that all the time. The best way to I always try to think of that in a movie, especially the ones that happened right around 2000 to 2006. They've got flip phones and brick phones, but it's not really the same. And you don't have these abilities to notify or to text or any of those things. And there's a lot of pagers still in those movies. So I watch those and I look at the problems they're having and realizing just how much of that plot is solved immediately with a smartphone.
Yeah.
Like zero time from problem to fix if you have a smartphone. And how hard it must be now for screenwriters to do scripts that have cell phones in them and do modern tales. And then their conflicts still can be conflicting without the use of these smart devices with us. I feel like that's actually a tricky writing job now, where it used to be like, I don't know, there's a payphone out in the middle of the desert, and maybe we'll get to that when he's between Nevada and Arizona in this cop movie or whatever, and you just dealt with it. But yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, Dillweed says easy, said it in the past. You do see that a lot. Like some stories need to be told in a way that you just may as well set it in the 70s
or like Severance, set it in like a weird version of unknown mix of 20 years ago and 5-10 years in the future. It's like you just have a sci-fi mix of weird tech.
Yeah, they did. Maybe they're the best example of that, actually. But yeah, man, I don't know. We watched Duster, the first episode of Duster, which has got that Josh Holloway dude. He was from Lost. He played Sawyer. He's cool. Anyway, that's set in the 70s. He drives a Duster, and it's set in Arizona, and it's got this whole mob thing. Keith David's in it. It's cool. That show is cool. Easy rec for an early thing. There's only one episode out, but definitely check that out. All right. Sorry, we're all over the place here. I got something for you. Andrew has a memory. We're going to share it. It's in the form of a phone call. All right. So voicecast.app/TMS is where he sent this. Let's see what Andrew has to say.
When I was in high school in the 90s, I was riding in the car with my dad when a weird new song came on the radio. My dad was not usually one for music quizzes, but he asks me, "What band is this?" It was rock, but I didn't recognize the singer. After a couple of seconds, though, I heard the distinct sound of Eddie on guitar and responded, "Van Halen?" My dad was proud of my musical ear picking out his favorite band that day. Now, have I ever listened to that Gary Cherone-fronted album again? No, but I'll always remember him as lead singer for that moment.
All right, so you may say to yourselves, this sounds like AI. Stephanie Innipets in the chat just said so. Yep. The VoiceCast thing now supports this option if you so choose. This is entirely up to you, the person calling in, not me. All right, so it's not me who chooses. You choose to send your text message and with it, a voice pick for how you want it read. and then that will let me do it as if it was a voicemail. And I know when they're AI versus voicemails, and obviously that one was. It's not hard to tell the difference between them.
Yeah.
In this case, but that's what that is. So if you want that option, there's like options, girls, boys, different tones, all that stuff. If you want to, if you'd rather just do straight up text, you still can do that. And if you'd rather it be your voice, you still do that. It's just a new feature they added. So that's what that was about. Secondly, this is it's interesting because we were talking about Van Halen and how it's, what generation are people that listen to it now, and when were they good and when were they bad, and all this discussion. But it reminds me of something I heard yesterday, which I'm sure Brian is well aware of now and probably made it part of daily music headlines while he was out. I don't know. But Trent Reznor, frontman of, 9 Inch Nails, that dude is 60. He's 60. I just want to put that out there, that now industrial metal as a genre is grandpa music. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Stir that into your pie crust and eat it. Think of that. What do you think of that, Bobby?
That bothers me. It shakes me so much I don't really have much of a response.
I don't have anything to say about it. Exactly. It's like, what?
Wow. I remember when I was a teenager, like going over to a friend's house and getting excited about a new Metallica album. So
yeah. I mean, the idea is, I don't know. I don't like to think too much about it. But then again, this is just how life was.
People get old.
Yeah, people were watching Elvis in their teens going, yeah, look at him swing his hips. He's rebellious. Our parents don't even know we're at this concert. And that was your hard edge, whatever. And then later when you were old and Elvis was dead and you were still listening to Elvis music and you were like, I can't believe this is old people music. It's the same. It's just that
that's the thing that you're focused on. I was just focused on the fact that he's 60 years old now, but you're saying that the idea that Metallica's music is old people music now.
Yes.
Yeah. That hits a different way for me.
Yeah.
You're right.
Exactly. That's my point, is like it will always be this way. There are bands now. There's some Danish death metal right now that some kid's into. And that band, they're in their 20s. They're like 24 years old, and they're so hard edge, man. Give them 20 years, and they're going to be looking back, I can't believe these are oldies now. Like, they're all going to have the same conversation, and it's all going to seem weird to them, because when you're a kid and you're into the rebellious sound of whatever the sound is, that eventually time catches up, and those guys age out, and the band's like 65 to 70, and they're still touring, and you're like, that's a little sad. It's just how it always is. This is the cycle, man.
I wonder how streaming music and the way we listen to music now is going to change that, though, because it was always easy to sort of peg something as in a place and time because you can remember when you first heard it on the radio, right?
Yeah.
But now that's not the case, and now my kids, my daughter will be in her bedroom. My 9-year-old, she'll be in her bedroom cleaning her room and jamming out to old Weezer songs, or even Katy Perry songs that came out 10 years ago. But she's not going to have like a point in time. She might have a memory of what she was doing at a certain age, but it's not linked to when that music was current.
No, this is true of my kids are older, obviously, and they are same thing. It's exactly the same. I've said this forever. I've talked to Brian about it before too on the air, I think, on this show, but the 2000s till now really don't have their decade sound the way we did previously. When the 90s, the sound of the 90s was very specific, lots of alternative, grunge. Like it had a coagulation of sounds that were very specific to the era, the advent of a new kind of techno and EDM that was coming out of the 90s. The 80s definitely had its vibe. The 70s definitely had its thing. 60s, you could go all the way back to the 20s and find the sound of the decade until the internet is prominent, and then suddenly it gets murky. And then that murkiness
it does. I think murky is the best way to put it, because there are new sounds that I think are indicative of the times now, like I don't know what it is right in this moment, but just because I'm not plugged into that, but I know that not too many years ago, there was dubstep, that you could pin to a certain moment in time. And then there's like
Definitely a mid-odds thing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like mumble rap was really big and everywhere for a while, but I would also be constantly surprised when I would hear some new band that was brand new, but they sounded just like like something that I listened to when I was in high school. So you're right. Murky and muddled and is a good way.
And I'm not even saying
that.
that's a bad thing. It's like people want
I don't
this
think
as
it's
a
a bad thing at
pejorative.
all.
I think it's just different. And Gene even says in the chat there was music before the 20th century. Absolutely. But there wasn't radio and there wasn't this mass methods of feeding it to people. So what I'm arguing is from the advent of radio up until the advent of the internet, for the most part, in general speaking terms, the things were piped to you through your car, through your headphones, through your radios, through your boom boxes, so you would glom on to the sound of that time because it was given to you freely, and those were the methods in which you heard it, and then you would go to the record store and you blah blah blah, all that stuff. There are always going to be people who found the unique stuff, the hidden gems and all that. That's true today. But what's different today, and I actually think it's actually a little cooler, my daughter, like Carter, for example, she's really into punk. She loves punk. And she likes hard rock. Most of it stems from old stuff. But that leads her to little nooks and crannies of newer things that are in that vein that she's like, oh, these new guys, they're very good at doing this. Like is it the Viagra Boys? Yeah, there's this band, the Viagra Boys, who are just like
a great name.
Perfect. And I have a feeling she got there probably through Cake or through some other band that we would consider 30 years
what
ago.
That makes me think of is the difference between now and then is that back then we were being fed our music from the top 40 stations and whatever the executives and record labels were deciding was going to be the sound right now. And that's oversimplifying it a little bit probably, and I also don't know how all those decisions were made exactly, but there were people that's kind of the general way that it was being fed to us. So you liked what you were told to like by them. Now, I think the difference now is I think you still probably will see broad trends, especially if you go and ask people who are the younger people now, right? The youths. There are probably broad trends, but they're being fed to us in a different way, and primarily probably by like the Spotify algorithm, right? Which can still, though, and this is a big difference, can still tailor its recommendations and what it feeds you to you as an individual and what your individual tastes are. Right. So it still makes it more muddied and more eclectic on a population scale, but yeah. So
it's wild to me.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting bit of stuff. All right, we are going to now move to this quiz thing. We got to call Dunaway though. Hold on, I'm going to do that now. Okay, here he is. Here he is. Here he comes. He's coming in. He's coming in hot. I don't know if he's even prepared for this. Does he know what we're doing? I don't think he knows. Does he know? I don't think he knows.
I didn't tell him.
Yeah, I don't think he knows. So this will be fun because now we'll inform him at the same time that we actually do the contest. So let's see how this goes. He's blinking. We're getting the rings of ringage. Will Brian Dunaway answer? Well, you'll have to tune in and find out after this message. Just kidding. We don't have a break. Okay, here he is. Welcome to the program, Brian Dunaway. Hello, Brian.
Oh, hi, Scott and Bobby. Of course I know.
Hi. Hey,
Ibbot let me know. He's not a slacker. He said, "Oh man, dude, Bobby's gonna be there Monday. You might want to bone up."
No, that's
science.
good. That's good. I'm glad because I didn't do anything. Although I did put in I put in some prizes for us to give to some randos in the chat. Oh my gosh, what is this? What'd you hold up there? Let me send video to.
I just got a pen. I just grabbed some pens.
Look at your cute little Star Wars pens. Those are great. Look at them. Look at that. When I was a kid, I would have fought for those. Oh my gosh.
You know what? Yeah. You know what's stupid?
What's stupid?
That me and Bobby live so close together, and we've never went and hung out somewhere. That's just dumb.
What's going on there?
I know.
What's wrong? I've
even flown a plane over your house.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yep. He dropped the.
Let's get together and hang out. Let's go.
He ejected the shitter load, the big frozen blue ice load, right over your house. and you didn't notice.
I thought I tasted something funny when I had my tongue stuck out.
Gross. Gross, like snow. Oh, that's terrible. All right.
Yeah. What's this blue snow?
Well, it's good to have you here, man. We're going to play a game, and it's going to be a little different today, as you know. And Bobby's going to explain the whole damn thing to us. So, Bobby, take it away.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you. So I've got some science questions that I'm going to ask you guys, each one in turn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let one of you guys try to answer it. And then the other one will try to answer if someone fails. And then we're just going to, basically, we're winging it.
All right.
And
I'm down.
And we're just going to, see how much you guys know about these random assortment of science topics. I have some that I had already lined up, but a lot of these came from on my podcast, All Around Science. We will occasionally do quizzes that are that come from questions that were submitted by our listeners, and so a lot of these are pulled from that. So, thanks to all those people who did that. People like Logan and BioCow who also listen to this show.
Oh, very
Those
nice.
are my favorite people.
Yeah, they are great. We love those guys. Real quick, if one of us gets it correct, if we get it wrong, you'll hear those things. So them's the rules.
All right.
Let's do it. Who starts? Do we have to roll for this, or how do we do this?
We'll start with
initiative.
We'll start with Brian because he lives in the same state as I.
Nice.
So,
There you go. Relative. We're doing relativity.
Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah.
Carolina preference. That's fine.
see,
Yeah.
he knows about
I had some of that one time. It's good on burgers.
It sure is. It sounds like
All
a
right,
sauce. You
so
could call
the
a
question
sauce
is-
that. You could absolutely sell that sauce. I would buy it. Anyway, go ahead.
The question is, the largest desert in the world. This is true false, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
True false.
True. There is the largest desert in the world.
Yeah.
All right, go
There
ahead.
is,
Yeah,
that
done.
is true. All right, that's your warm up. Now the real question is, the largest desert in the world is the Sahara Desert in northern Africa.
True or false, Brian?
In northern. Well, yeah, I know what true or false is. Got him thinking. Jesus.
Here, maybe this will help you.
I don't like bees.
I think Amy's.
Like bees. So this is true or false. So there's pretty good odds since he's given me one desert, and there are more than one. So my odds of saying that it is not this one makes it pretty good. So I'm going to say nay.
Okay.
So what you're saying is like there's lots of deserts in the world, and
Right.
the odds that any one of them is the largest is
Right.
small. So the odds that the rest, I see what you're saying. Like if you just had to randomly pick.
Yeah, we're doing true false. Yeah, if you give me four options, then it may be different. But yeah, true false. I'm gonna go with no way, man.
False.
Absolutely, the answer is false. You're correct.
Nicely done. What is the big?
the largest-
where is the largest?
The largest desert in the world is Antarctica.
Oh goodness, that's considered well, yeah,
A desert, that's a snowy place.
it is, but I
Well-
don't think the sand is what makes it a desert, right? That's not.
Yeah, it's not defined by sand or temperature. It's about annual rainfall, and
Really?
yep, the Sahara gets about 3.9 inches of rain in a year, but so it gets less than that. But Sahara Desert actually gets 2 inches of precipitation per year, and and Antarctica gets 6.5 inches of precipitation a year. So the Sahara is drier than the Antarctic, but the Antarctica is 5.5 million square miles, whereas
Nice.
the Sahara is only 1.8 million square miles.
Well, I look
Goodness.
forward to using this science as a smartass in the next discussion I have with some, sciencey people.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, you should. That's my favorite thing about being a science enthusiast is is showing everyone else how much more I know than they do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Guess what? Not even close. It's Antarctica.
All right, nicely done. You're a point up.
exactly.
Well done, man.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
All right, Scott. You ready for one?
I am. I'm scared. Let's do it.
All right, let's try one of these questions down here. You can't see my list, so saying it that way doesn't help you at all. All right, this one is not true false. This is going to be multiple choice.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Here we go. After it is created, how long does it take a photon to be emitted from the sun?
Ooh. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Give me my. I think I know this, but give me my options.
Here are your options. How long does it take a photon to be emitted from the sun? A, about 8 minutes. B, about 22 years. C, about 250 years. Or D, over 100,000 years.
Wow.
The first one was you said about 8 minutes?
About 8 minutes is the first answer, yeah. So we've got a wide range of very different answers.
Yeah. Actually, the answer I thought it was is the only one it's close to is A, 8 minutes, around 8 minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to say A.
Can you read us the story of protons by giving it to us like in a Hammond kind of way, like little baby proton is born and flies out and little science talk?
Yeah.
Because it is born deep inside the core of the sun, and it takes over 100,000 years
Oh, shit.
Holy
for that
smack.
photon
I thought,
to reach the
okay,
surface of
what's
the sun.
the whole quantum thing where the minute the light or the minute something exists, it also exists everywhere? What's that thing?
We did have a discussion one time about how, from the perspective of a photon, no time passes from the moment it gets created to the moment it gets absorbed by something. You're right about that.
Okay.
Is it traveling at the speed of light? Is that what's going on?
No, that's
it's because of time dilation and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think a photon does travel at the speed of light. Not sure about that. But no, the 8 minutes you're thinking of, Scott, is probably that's how long it takes to get from the surface of the sun and travel to the Earth.
Oh.
Yeah.
So every 8 minutes, something hits us that was 8 minutes ago. Well, yeah, duh. I mean,
Well, when you look at the sun, you're seeing...
And it's over 100,000 years old. So the sunlight outside is stale, is what you're saying. I got you.
I can taste
it's
it.
very stale. It's not very crunchy anymore. But it's because when it gets made on the inside of the sun, like the plasma inside the sun is very dense. So as the photon is trying to go out, it bounces against things for a long time. Some photons could take theoretically upwards of 1 million years to get out.
Wow.
But the average is at 100,000.
It's like one of those
Scott,
things. Neil deGrasse Tyson gets on one of those podcasts with a dummy and goes,
Yeah.
so let me blow your mind. And then he'll do a thing. And then the Joe Rogan guy, whoever it is going to go, whoa, no way, man.
Hey, dude, what's it sound like when it gets out off the surface of the sun? Does it like scream?
It goes,
Oh, I'll give even better.
It makes a popping sound. That's great.
yeah.
I love it. All right.
All
Well,
right,
we got
so
a zero. We got a big 0 to 1 going on here. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you know what I should have done was given Brian a chance to
I wouldn't have got it.
Oh, to
there you
steal?
go. That would have been fine. But yeah, that's not a bad idea in the future. But I still would have messed it up.
All right.
All right, well, let's try a different one, Brian. How about this? We'll stick with things that are relativistic, all right?
Right.
Einstein's theory of general relativity tells us that the faster you go relative to a stationary object, the slower your time will pass relative to that object. Also, the further away from a massive object you are, the faster your time will move relative to that massive object. This means, there's a lot of preamble to this. This means that things in space, like astronauts and satellites, actually have time pass more slowly for them than for us mere earthbound humans. True or false? Time actually moves slower for people in space as they do to people on Earth.
Yeah.
I think it's the opposite, right? Because they're further away. I think it's the opposite.
So which true or false then?
So you said, so I'm going to say no, false, right? Because
He says false.
He says
that
false.
right?
It's incorrect. It's true.
it's true.
It is true.
Okay.
Yep.
So time moves slower for them.
Nope.
Yeah, because
that
time
way.
does move more slowly for things that are above the Earth, and it's because of the fact that it's relativistic speeds. Everything that is moving, its time moves more slowly for anything that is stationary.
Right.
It's always that.
That's
always
right.
that.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's why if you put it, you run around your backyard, you will live longer.
Flipped around. I got it flipped backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so isn't it kind of micro levels though? It's not like they're gaining days worth of time.
We're talking nanoseconds over the course of the life of an astronaut.
Real small. Yeah.
It's a noticeable delay, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, so I love Interstellar. I love that movie because it makes you talk about this stuff, and I love the discussion and the basis of what the movie's based on and all that. Obviously, it goes places that we can't understand or we don't know, so they're making a lot of stuff, filling a lot of things in. But that is the movie that made everybody start to learn about this a little bit. Think about it.
Yeah.
And I love thinking about that stuff. It's great. I love the idea of coming back. I'm reading a book right now where this very thing happens. Guy's been in stasis for 100 years, but he's only aged a decade. And he can tell that someone else got left out got brought out of their stasis a year before they did, because they're like decades older than him, even though it's only been this. I love that shit. It's fun to play with. Anyway.
Yeah. It is.
Enough of that. Sorry, Bob.
Well, I blew it.
Yeah, you did. Well,
I
nice
blew it,
job.
Scott.
Yeah, you blew it.
Sorry, it's learning that's the real reward.
Yeah. But the only thing is, you're going to ask me again next week, and I'm going to go, wait a minute. Was it the other way again?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, no.
That's how it'll go.
Yeah, that one mixes me up every time. I always have to look it up. All right, Scott, you ready?
Yeah.
What this is not multiple choice or true false. You just have to see if you can think of the answer. You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. What is the only type of rock that floats?
Oh.
Only
I saw this on
type
David
of rock.
Letterman.
Yeah, may have been like one of their science episodes. Some kid came on there and did it. This is
Fart rocks.
a little bit of a fart rocks. I'm gonna say volcanic rock,
Oh.
because in
Volcanic
my
rock,
head it's all like
Nice.
bubbly and
It's porous.
porous. Yeah. For some reason I think that's it, but that could be wrong.
I have to check with the judges to see if that, and yes, that is an acceptable
Very good.
answer.
Nice.
Wow.
Volcanic
Look
rock.
at you.
That's what I meant, not the buzz.
Volcanic rock is also known as pumice.
Oh,
Yeah.
like pumice, like you pumice your
Scrub your feet
jeans
with it.
Yeah, and scrub your feet with it. Yeah.
Or pumice, I guess some people say pumice. But
They're
I don't
wrong.
because it sounds too much like pubes.
Yeah. Pubes. Pube.
Yeah.
The pubes.
Pumice is it's because exactly like you said, it's less dense than water because it has a bunch of bubble like voids inside of it, but they're pretty much sealed off from the atmosphere around it. In fact, scientists will sometimes dig into volcanic rock to see what the atmosphere or just learn about the gases that are trapped inside of there.
Oh.
And the really dumb ones do it while it's still hot.
Yeah. They don't last very long as scientists.
They don't last long now.
No, they do not. I know this for a very specific reason. You know that story I told you about the old guy that dated my grandma, that when we showed up at the door, he wasn't wearing pants, but he was wearing like a vest and a tie and stuff. He was starting.
Did you lose that to lava?
No, he lost it to a lady, a redheaded lady who had dementia, who was as old as him, who was over there, and they were doing the duty, and she used to be a sex worker. Anyways, the whole story. My grandma was pissed. It's the whole thing. But the reason I'm bringing this up, he owned a pumice mine, which I didn't know was a thing at the time. But he would sell huge amounts of rights to his pumice mine to pants makers, like Levi Strauss Company.
Oh, interesting.
Would pay him to use parts of the mine because they use that stuff in processing the jeans to give them a rougher look or whatever.
To give it like
make them soft.
Yeah,
to wear them in,
and to give them the wear look. So, like, if you want the knees to look all worn down, you would use pumice on them, something like that. Anyway, it was a whole wild thing. And then after this incident, we sort of, we were banned from talking to the guy. So there's that.
What a pumice money.
Pumice money. He had pumice money.
Pumice money.
He really did. All right, sorry. So that gave me a point, did it? Where are we at? I think we're tied.
Brian has 2. Scott has 1.
Oh,
I know. I think it was 1-1 because I screwed up the time dilation, didn't I? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is 1.
You're right.
1-1.
Yeah.
I gave you an extra point because of
You flipped it wrong too. So there we go. Just flip-a-roo.
I was trying to cheat for you because you're a fellow South Carolinian.
Local. That's right.
You're both Panther fans.
But you are too honest, because that is another trait of South Carolinians.
It really is.
It is. You guys
I don't
need to lie
want to win
more.
by cheating.
That's right. Lie more. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I got one more for each of you. You ready?
Yep. Do it.
Give me.
Brian.
Yes.
Whenever we eat a donut,
Yes.
where does digestion begin? I'm going to see if you can come up with it, and if you can't, if you need it, you can ask for multiple choices, but you will get credit with everybody listening. No extra points, but you'll get cool credits.
I love how Brian gets all the 50-50s. He gets all the, if you can't answer it that way.
50-50. Listen to me, Scott. There are way more than 2 things in your body where digestion.
No. I mean, like, he gets the true falses are all 50-50s. He gets this one where he gets this trick. I have no problem being on hard mode. It's not a problem.
I have to remind you that we both live in South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's right. It starts in the milk that I dip it in. No, I believe it would start in your mouth because you can absorb medicine and things through your mouth. So I'm assuming the saliva, the first thing that hits, can disseminate into the mouth. It's got to be semi-permeable in there somewhere, right? So
The
I'm going to go
digestion.
the mouth.
The mouth.
Going with the mouth.
Do the mouth.
Going with the mouth. That's correct.
Nicely done. Yes, saliva is specifically designed to break down stuff, right?
Yes, exactly. Your saliva has an enzyme called salivary amylase in it.
Yummy.
Oh, that's good on your steak. Yeah.
Any foods. Now, the food I chose was important. Any food that has starch in it is where it will break down in your salivary amylase. Because carbohydrates or starches are a type of carbohydrate that are very complex and actually can't be dissolved in water or in your stomach acid. So it has to get broken down by your saliva.
Really? Like a potato? Like potatoes then, right?
Yeah.
The starch is in potatoes, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you had busted salivary glands and they weren't putting out the right enzymes, you'd have to not eat potatoes.
It would be harder for you to digest it.
Yeah,
you had to have mom chew it up for you like a bird, right?
Yeah, you'd be a member of Constipation Nation is what you'd be. Jeez,
speaking of that, what about the other tube in the tube? Could you do a donut suppository? Is that would starch be dissolved?
I mean, you can. You can do anything you want, I suppose.
Okay.
Donut suppository. All right, sorry, that was gross. I'm going to go ahead and give you a point, Brian. That means it's now 2-1. 2-1.
Yep. 2-1.
All right. Lay it on me.
Here we go. Scott, I'll be nice and I'll give you one that is somewhat 50-50. Ready?
Yeah, go.
Does sound travel faster in air or water?
Ooh.
We're talking about the speed of the sound. Does it travel faster in air or water?
All right. Boy, the natural tendency to say there's less resistance in the air, but that may not be true.
Talk it out. It's okay.
Water,
this is how science works.
Water is also very connected, so you have, in theory, further communication of sound could be possible in water than in air, because air hits maybe a wall and can't keep going. I guess it's true in water, though, too. So I'm going to say, water's more dense, right?
Right. And to clarify, we're not talking about distance. We're talking about speed, right?
Oh, okay. That's good because my brain was going distance. Speed.
Yeah, so a wall wouldn't matter, right?
Right.
Because you're still talking about how fast it would get to that wall.
All right. I'm say air. I think air.
Faster in air, less dense, less stuff to go through. Yeah. But unfortunately, you're wrong. It goes faster in water.
Damn it! Why is that? Is it because of what I was saying about how the density?
But it's got further to travel. Is that reason why it seems like it takes longer when you're underwater and somebody screams at you?
Well, it's the same distance. It's the same distance, though, right?
Well, you got to bounce against the denser material.
I thought you were going to get it. I thought you were going to get it, Scott, because you were talking about how the water particles are closer together. It's more dense, and that's exactly why it travels faster in water. It travels at 1,500 meters per second in water compared to 340 meters per second in air, and it's because the particles are closer together, and so that sound is vibration of particles, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what Marky Marks is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's feel the vibration.
Yeah, so if Tom Hanks is 40 feet from Daryl Hannah underwater and she goes, "Ee!" she's going to hear it quicker in there than if, even by microseconds, milliseconds, whatever, than she would up in the air and her saying, "Ee!" and he would hear it slower.
Absolutely.
That's wild to me that it's faster. Wow. All right.
That's
you know what that means? Brian's won.
All right. Well, that's right. We have a winner, and it's Brian from South Carolina.
Nicely done.
Congratulations.
Now, here's the deal. Whoever pings me fourth on Discord will get these game codes we're giving away today. They're not for me or Brian. They're for you people at home. Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX. I pulled that one out because I know Brian Dunaway is a big Alex Kidd fan.
And the DX version is awesome.
It's real good, real good. Then Tropico 3, the Steam Special Edition, also an excellent version of Tropico 3, where I think that series peaked, by the way, is Tropico 3. These two codes on Steam, absolutely free to our fourth Ding-a-ringer. Let's see who we got here. Okay, they're coming in. They're flowing. It looks like our fourth person is...
The dings are flowing.
Josh 3.0 is our fourth caller.
Josh 3.0.
Josh, I'm sending you your codes now. Congratulations. Well done. You are the winner, and thanks to King Quimbazi for the codes there. Has a bunch of great codes in here from him. Big thanks to him, and thanks to Brian Dunaway for doing this today. Hey, guess what? Speaking of today, and speaking of retro games, today, Play Retro, 4 p.m. Tell people what we're doing.
Absolutely. We're talking about Driver 1 and 2, those PlayStation classic games that maybe you played less of than you remember. I certainly did. I went and played Driver 1, and I was like, yeah, I played this. And I tried to get it through the parking garage test, and it's like, oh, yeah, I took this back.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah. It is very hard. They are way harder than I remember. If they were to do them today, they would have to scale that way back, or no one will play it. And
well, we're about to find out, because Switch 2 is rumored to be getting a remaster of Driver 1 and 2. We'll see.
Yeah, they better give an easy mode. Seriously, the timers on some of those missions. Who are they kidding?
Evil.
Who are they kidding? It's ridiculous. Anyway, we'll talk all about that today and whether those are worthy of your time. That's Play Retro at frogpants.com/playretro, or live today at 4 p.m. at frogpants.tv. Brian Dunaway, we would like you to kiss our butts.
But okay, then.
Okay. Oh, my gosh. I got so many flooding names in. I can't hang up on you. Shit.
No, you.
Bye. All right. Damn it. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back from this break, some more science with Bobby, a couple other things here to round us out. And we're going to play a song here that Brian gave me. Big thanks to Brian for setting me up for a indie in the middle and a request at the end of the show. We're going to start with a song called, where is it? Magic of the Sail. And that is from a self-titled album, or an album with the same name, Magic of the Sail, that's upcoming. Big thanks to Grandstand Media for letting Brian know about this so that we could play it here. Some people say things like Paste Magazine says, this Texas-based four-piece crafts immersive ballads rife with lyrical introspection and compelling rock textures. If that doesn't sell you on Magic of the Sail, then what will? All right? I guess me playing it. That'll do it. I'm going to play it now. Watch for that coming out soon. This, again, is Magic of the Sail from the same album, Magic of the Sail. We'll be right back.
Before you answer, listen. It even comes with a matching fork to make carving a pleasure.
I'm afraid I need your dinner for an experiment.
And we returned. That song again was... Oh, I didn't... You know, I just realized I didn't say the name of the band, did I? I just said the name of the song in the album. It's Magic of the Sail. And if you give me a moment, I will tell you the band. Maybe it is the band name. Sometimes these things confuse me. I don't know how Brian keeps it straight. There it is. Oh, it's TEETHE. 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 You hear that? It's coming out on Windspear Records.
I do.
TEETHE. That's a weird name, but I love it. All right. Anyway, check that out. Big thanks again to everybody involved, including Brian, who sent me the song. All right. It's time for us to do a little bit of this.
Science!
Bob is hungry, and the soup looks good.
Hey, you know, I also got your clip from the event that's pretty good. I played the Amy one a couple of times. This one right here.
I don't like bees.
It's my favorite reading of that. I'm going to play yours. I would like you to hear it. My good pal Bobby is now going to hear this. You ready for this? Here we go.
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Let's test the ship's phasers.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I'm going to pull that out whenever I need it. I got Travis doing this.
I'm into this shit.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
That was a good one.
That place erupted when he said that. Like, I don't think that bar, the decibels in that bar have never been that high. That was wild.
It was a brilliant response to the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wendy's is this one.
It's too early for a fish sandwich.
And this one from Tom, which clearly meant he'd never heard us say this before.
I can definitely see why you like it.
He's incredulous. He doesn't understand. And then Monica, of course.
You can eat rice!
Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Okay, we're going to get right into it. Bobby, what did you bring on your big plate of science content?
So I wanted to talk today. There's a new study that came out talking about cold plunges. You know, cold plunges.
Yeah, right? I've heard of that. We have one of these things, one of these tubs. I've never done it, but my daughter got it, and it's like a big tub you fill with cold water and ice, and then the idea is that you get in there and have some sort of heart racing, jubilant vibe,
life-changing experience.
Yep. And for the rest of the day or week or whatever, you're just got energy and you're feeling revived and all that. That's the idea anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That is the idea. And there are a lot of claims that people make about these cold plunges, that they have benefits that are, like increasing recovery time from exercise, reducing anxiety and depression, or just other health benefits, like it's good for your heart, it's good for this, it's good for that. It's having a moment. This cold plunge idea is having a moment. This actually comes from this idea of cold being really good for your body. Actually, kind of been around for a while. There's been cryotherapy as an idea for a long time, or people would just go into really cold rooms for a while, or all this kind of stuff, right? And it makes sense if you've done one of these. It makes sense superficially, I should say. If you've done one of these cold plunges, or you've been in really cold water before, you can see why it might have this you might have this thought that it'd be good for you, because when you get out of it, like your endorphins are rushing, and it kind of makes you feel like excited and good in a way.
It's kind of like a cold shower, right? Like I remember, for a long time I was part of a group that was basically a group of scout leaders. We used to take these kids to these, remote places for scout camps, and one of them was in the Uintas. Yeah, the Uintas, which is very remote, way up in the mountains. Lots of flash floods and crazy stuff happens up there. And it was really like live off the land kind of stuff. And one of the things was we had to build makeshift showers because we were there 2 weeks or whatever it was. And we would, it'd be a combination of like a bucket we brought and rainwater collected from the previous day and very, very cold water in this thing, ice cold, and you would have to dump it on yourself, kind of soap up, do it again to rinse, do it again to make sure you're fully rinsed, get the heck out of there. And that had that similar effect of like just and you would actually kind of feel invigorated. You would have a sense of feeling invigorated. Whether or not it was good for us, I don't know, but that's about as close as I've come to trying this.
But subjectively, in the moment, after the fact, you can see why people would think that this might be good for you, because again, the good invigorated feeling that you're getting is from this surge of endorphins that your body goes through, because what you're doing is something akin to danger, right? Like your body interprets this as, oh no, we don't need to be doing this right now, right? Because you're putting your body into an extreme environment and doing it. So subjectively, it can increase your mood over the short term, but we here in the science-loving world, we don't want to make claims of like actual claims about something unless studies have been done to look at and test those claims. So there has been some research that's been done on cold plunges, and it's really not strong evidence. It's a kind of all over the place. Some studies will show that it doesn't do anything. Some studies will show that there is some small effect. And in general, when you see that kind of thing happen, where it's all over the place and the effects that you do see are small effects, usually that means that there's probably nothing, right? But most of these studies have all been done also on men, which, surprise, surprise, a lot of especially medical science is done on men and not women. And so this research that that just came out was focused on the effects that it has on women. We need to do studies on both types of people because our bodies are different, right? And the chemistry and physiology is different in our bodies. So
why is it that even in the science community we're so, it's not slow to, but we don't always include that level of testing? Why is it always dudes? What's that about?
It's probably because there's historically there have been dudes at the top who don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
So
they're just not even like, yeah. It's like kind of like how they don't. I always hear about how they don't do. If a dude goes in for some kind of biopsy near his junk, they'll do local anesthetics and stuff like that. They send a woman in for a pap smear or a biopsy or something, and they don't. They're just like, no, I just clip this skin off and it's going to hurt like hell. And that's just the way it's always been. That always blows my mind because it just seems
it's far.
stupid.
I don't want to dive too deep into that part of it because it's far more complicated than that and a lot more insidious and icky than that because there's, I mean, actually Talia is saying it right now. There's funding involved, which is that, the way funding gets handed out is when you're applying for a grant, you kind of have to say, this is why I think this is an important piece of research to do. And this is, where it would benefit us. And when you have men reviewing those grant applications, they tend to care more about the stuff that might impact them. But it's way more complicated than that. There's a lot of sexism involved and stuff like that. That's a whole topic that I'm not as informed about as I should be. So I don't want to speak too much to it, but just suffice to say that it's very much a fact that there's not enough research, medical research that's done.
Sure.
On
that makes sense. Yeah.
The other problem with all the research that's been done on this stuff is that it's not been very well standardized. This research that does exist on cold plunges, and what I mean by standardize is what do we mean by what is the temperature range of the plunge? How long do the people get in it? What is the exercise that is done before or maybe after, or how long it's the standardization of all of these things is not great. So it's hard to compare the results between studies. There is a small amount of evidence that it could affect anxiety and depression. It's just not great. The evidence that exists says that it is about plasma concentrations of things like endorphins and dopamine and serotonin. It seems to be that if you do a cold plunge afterwards, you have more of these things in your blood plasma. But the problem is that doesn't necessarily translate to long-term changes in anxiety and depression just because you have more serotonin in your plasma right after a cold plunge. It doesn't necessarily have long-term effects.
Right.
And you would want to see long-term effects if you're talking about a treatment for those things, right?
Isn't it sort of the same thing as like if I take one dose of oxycodone for pain, it is going to do a great job of doing the chemistry needed to block pain receptors for 6 hours. But not long term. It's the same idea, right? Your body's going to do. In this case, in that case, you're introducing stuff to change chemical reactions. But in this case, your body's doing it based on its environment. But it's not like my instinct would be, again, I'm not doing these studies, so I don't know. But my instinct would be that this behavior or doing this once a week or something doesn't permanently change your body's amount of anything. All it does is your body's just doing it every time. It's just saying, okay, here's a flood of whatever. It's like adrenaline. It's like, here's a flood of adrenaline. Take it, use it, whatever. But every time you get adrenaline, isn't your body going, I could do that more often. I could have that all the time. It doesn't do that.
Right, exactly. It's not like it sticks around. There are mechanisms in your body to clean up this loose serotonin that's floating around, and it will clean it up. So if you have like an extra squirt of serotonin in your body because you jumped into a cold plunge, it'll get cleaned up.
Right.
Your body is good at maintaining homeostasis, the regular average level of things that should be in your body. Your body it does a good job of doing that most of the time. So the problem, though, is that when you notice things like, science has shown that plasma concentrations of dopamine and serotonin are increased after a cold plunge, people who are trying to sell you cold plunges take that information and run with it, and then draw conclusions to that aren't necessarily warranted from that information, right?
Yeah. I mean, my experience again with those cold showers were, I know that if I need, like, if I'm really out of it and just like drowsy and it's 2 p.m. and I'm like, I have to get some focus, I know I could go take a cold shower and it would probably snap me out of it for a while. It'd be very temporary, but I could do it. Like, I know, sure, I think I just know intrinsically that kind of shock to the system will create this momentary need of, like, it's like taking caffeine or something. You just need it right now. That seems logical to me, that's how this could be used. And for those who are like way into this at home, we're not saying that you're wasting your time or this is like a placebo pill. We're just saying some of these claims about the long-term effects are being a little exaggerated, especially by those who maybe benefit from telling you that. Right.
What I do when I am looking into these things and trying to tell people about things that are current, like fads, and I don't mean that in a negative sense, the word fad. I just mean, like, just factually, it's a fad right now. Like, lots of people are into it, and I'm just trying to make sure that you have all the information. So that's what I'm doing here. So the recent experiment that was done on, like I said, women. What they did is they were testing the claims that are made about post-workout recovery. So that's one of the claims that are made, is that doing a cold plunge after a workout will reduce inflammation and help you recover from the workout better, right? And possibly even help you build muscle better. These are the claims that are made. So they did an experiment. What they did is they had women do an intense leg muscle exercise, drop jumps. Do you know what drop jumps are?
I have not heard of drop jumps, but they sound as bad as burpees. Tell me what a drop jump is.
They're kind of like, what you do is you stand on like a thigh-high box or something like that, and you jump on the ground, down onto the ground off of the box, and then as soon as you hit the ground, you jump straight up again as high as you can.
Okay. Here's a guy doing it right here. All right, so he gets up on his thing.
Yeah.
He steps down. Here's video, everybody. Bonk, bonk.
You drop down and you jump straight back up. Yeah.
Okay. And this is the thing you do over and over, and this is to give you what? What does this do?
It really works out the leg muscles. It's really good for a leg muscle workout, because you're dropping a long distance and then you're jumping straight back up. So you have the force of your whole body going down, and then your leg muscles pushing against it to jump you up into the air, right?
Okay.
So that's the idea. The point is that it works your leg muscles out a lot, and that's what they wanted to do. Was they wanted to have a very large muscle, which your leg muscles are very large, to work out a lot, so they could test some different temperature approaches to helping muscle recovery, right? So they grouped the people into 3 recovery protocols. One of them would do a 10-minute dip in 10 degrees Celsius water. 10 degrees Celsius is very cold. What is 10 degrees Celsius?
10 is, let's see, 0, obviously,
10 C2F
32.
is 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
50, that's pretty cold
Yeah, it's pretty cold. One of the groups would do a 10-minute dip in 10 degrees Celsius water. Another group would do a 10-minute dip in 40 degrees Celsius water, which is over 100. I think it's like 110 degrees. Mm-hmm. So it's like 100 degrees Fahrenheit hotter. And then another group just did nothing, right? Mm-hmm. That's the control group. And so they would do that. Then 2 hours later, they would have them do the same recovery protocol again. So the cold water people would get back into another 10-minute dip, and then the hot water people would get back into another 10-minute dip 2 hours later, right?
Right.
Then 2 or 3 days after they did this, the researchers looked for signs of muscle recovery, measurable signs of muscle recovery, because you have to measure it, right? Subjective signs of recovery, how it feels. And they did ask them how it felt. So this is actually an important part of it. They did both subjective and objective signs of muscle recovery.
Yeah.
But when they looked at that, they looked at things like muscle strength, how strong were the muscles, how sore were the muscles. So that's subjective. They also measured muscle swelling. And then they looked in the blood, actually, for a blood marker called creatine kinase. That's a marker for muscle damage in the blood. So how much of that is still floating around. It's sort of a very objective measure of muscle repair and recovery.
Yeah,
right?
They do this when they get a full blood lab. They'll test for creatine levels.
Yeah. So what they found, and I'll cut to the chase, what they found basically is no difference between any of the groups.
Weird.
So cold or hot water these plunges had no difference they showed no difference in doing nothing when it comes to muscle recovery. And this is importantly on subjective and objective measures, right? 3 days later, 2 and 3 days later.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I don't know why. It just seems like the idea that a temperature is going to have a healing effect, it just doesn't sound right in my head.
Where this idea comes from, if you think about it, where the idea comes from is what kind of effects can you think of it? What kind of an effect would cold water have on the inside of your body?
Contraction, first of all.
Yes.
So muscles.
What is contracting though? Important.
Contracting. Well, in the case of, that's good. It's a good point. Contraction of tissues and muscles and organs.
So your blood, your muscles will contract a little bit, yes. But part of the reason that's happening is to conserve heat, right? But an important thing is that your blood vessels will also contract. And that's to send the flow of blood more internal to the core of your body, right? Out of the extremities.
Keep that warm, yeah. Because you can you can cut off your hands and live without them. That's the reason why people lose their fingers and their toes when they're, they get exposed to extreme colds for too long.
Yeah.
I think that's right, is that the blood has left for warmer climes and to keep the core alive, because the core is where it's at. Your heart and stuff.
So there are conflicting ideas here. Well, in order for the muscles to recover, you would think that there needs to be more blood flow, but also maybe there needs to be more of maybe the blood flow cleaning out some of these chemicals that help to like another thought is maybe if it takes longer for the recovery or less blood flow, maybe the things that are building up the muscle will stick around longer.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So this is a test of they tested both the feeling of recovery, but also the strength. Did the muscles actually get stronger? And there was just no difference. And then, but they tested the opposite as well, warm blood, which would increase blood flow. So they're coming at it from the other angle. Does that have a difference? And they still found no difference. It turns out that your body is just doing what it does. It doesn't need your help.
No.
It's
built. This is biological thing it does with extremes, cold, extremes heat, extreme whatever, right?
Yeah, millions upon millions of years of evolution have helped your body figure out what it needs to do when muscle is building and being damaged and stuff like that.
And you're not going to change that with $125 on Amazon. It's going to do what it's going to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times I would just leave it at that and say, now you know the information. Do what you're going to do. If you like cold plunges, just take the cold plunges. But I don't want to leave it at that with this, because there's a little bit more you need to know, because the cold plunging can be dangerous. And
isn't 50 degrees minus 50? Sorry,
it's not minus 50. It's just 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's what it is. 50 degrees Fahrenheit is considered the dangerous level. You could die if you stay there too long. It's like too cold, right?
I don't think so. I think that's why they chose 50, is because it's not too dangerous. You don't want to put people in too dangerous of a situation if you're doing an experiment on them, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people who are doing it are filling it with very cold, close to freezing water. So much colder than 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right.
And that is dangerous. Your body, when your body is exposed to freezing temperatures, especially freezing water. I found a quote in the paper I was reading, and it said that the quote was that the chances, when you're talking about ice water, the chances of survival are measured in minutes. Not in hours, but in minutes.
Jeez.
And so there's also this rule in survival talk about like wilderness survival. If you're in the water, there's the 1-10-1 rule, which is like you have 1 minute to get your breathing under control. You have 10 minutes to I can't remember the 10 part, but you have an hour to get yourself out of the situation of being in freezing waters, right?
Jeez. All right.
So that's we're talking about serious situations here, right?
Right.
Your body is actually much better adapted to dealing with extreme heat than it is to extreme cold, and it's because part of the reason that we as humans have survived things like the Ice Age is because we came up with other ways, external measures to keep us warm, like putting clothes on and fire and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
So one of the things
kill
that
the
can
big
happen,
woolly mammoth, take the woolly mammoth's skin, wrap ourselves in it. Holy shit, we survived the winter, Barry. What do you think about next year? Like, that's how it worked.
Yeah. Exactly. So Barry the caveman. Yeah.
Barry the sorry, Barry. Sorry, our friend Barry. I was not referring to you, but I'm sure he appreciates the evolution of humans and staying warm in Chicago in the winter. I think
exactly. So what are the things that could happen if you're exposed to such extreme temperatures? And this is important to know, like if you're doing this kind of thing, the first thing that happens when you get into the cold water is gasping and threat of hyperventilation. You just said it earlier when you talked about having cold water dumped on your head. What's the first thing you do is
it's a shock. It's like, ugh. You stop, you kind of breathe in, you suck in all your air, you hold it for a sec, I think.
Yeah, there have been people who have known to drown in cold. Like I think it's happened a couple of reports of people drowning in a cold plunge when they're doing it by themselves.
Oh, geez.
And it's because you do it up to your neck a lot of times, right? And so they'll be gasping for a while, and then they'll aspirate water, and then drown.
Jeez.
Or aspirate water and then get fluid in the lungs and develop pneumonia, and stuff like that. So you got to be very careful if you're doing that kind of thing. Don't do it for too long either. The other thing that can happen is when you put your body in extreme cold, you have a very sudden drop in blood pressure, and that can lead to fainting.
Yeah.
And that would also be very bad if you're doing it alone. So if you're putting yourself in cold water, maybe don't do it alone.
Yeah, have a cold water partner. And don't do it at the same time. Have them standing outside, and then, you inside, them outside, and so on.
Yeah, don't both of you do it. That would defeat the purpose, right?
Yeah. Then exactly. What would be the point of that? By the way, I can't think anywhere colder than this. I just looked up the coldest place in our immediate vicinity in the universe. All right?
Yeah.
And it turns out the coldest place is on the southern pole, or the most non-sun ever facing in its rotation pole of Triton, the Neptune moon. You will step out of that capsule and land on negative 235 Celsius, which is 391 negative Fahrenheit. That sounds like instant freeze. Like you'll walk out and just go.
You measure your survival in seconds and not in minutes.
Yeah, maybe a second is all you're going to get. It's like those people who get pooped out into space from the airlock and they just freeze up. It's like that.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That's what happened to Princess Leia.
That's what I heard. Well, she had enough.
She had the Force.
She had a little bit of this, and she could do stuff right at the last second. But other than that, I mean, Carrie Fisher was a badass. So what do you expect?
She is, but those movies. Anyway, that's a conversation for another day.
It is. Do not go to Titan, is what we're saying, and do not do a cold bath without a friend. Have somebody there. Do the buddy system.
That drop in blood pressure can also bring it brings blood to your core, like I said, closer to your heart, and that can cause arrhythmias in your heart, so it can cause damage. So that's not good. Yeah. There are also what are called non-freezing cold injuries. I'd never heard of these before, which is tissue damage that can occur with prolonged exposure to water temperatures that are just above freezing.
Yeah.
And that can cause people to have permanent cold sensitivity and permanent pain, nerve damage.
Ew.
So
I don't like that at all. I hate that.
So do this carefully, please.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it at all, because I get it. Subjectively, you might feel really good from doing it, but just be really careful, because if you're listening to this, if you're listening to my voice, you're my friend, and I don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah. I remember, so when I was 15, I did a snow cave camp where you had to build your own snow cave and sleep overnight. Did pretty well in general, but my gloves kind of sucked because my mom gave me shitty gloves. I don't know. But I dug out this thing and slept there. And I remember being very cold and very numb on my extremities, but I was fine. Yeah. We had food. It was fine.
Sure.
I go home, and for the next probably month, my fingers specifically were kind of not numb, but were definitely less the touch was less noticeable, like a kind of a numbness, and my fingers itched like mad. Just like the nerve endings were just like, and I couldn't get to wherever they itched.
I've had that itchy feeling before when my fingers are freezing from being in like the snow, like you said. And then they start to like thaw out, so to speak, in air quotes. They're not really thawing out. But when the feeling starts to come back, they do get just itchy feeling.
Yeah. So I think I may have done some short-term badness to my fingers that it's now fine. I don't have any issues now. I never have issues like that now. But if I were to do it now, like if I went and did this snow cave with those crappy gloves, I can't tell you how that would turn out. Okay. First of all, I'm not doing it. All right. I'm done with that. I'm good. I had the experience. I'm done. Yeah. I don't have to go back. All right. Well, we all learned a little something today in Bobby's fine segment. Here in a minute, or before the show ends, we will make sure to plug both your new daily brief science podcast as well as your weekly one, so people can get more of this fantastic work. So stick around for that. All right. Something I've been promising for a while. Jamie, TMS Mashups Jamie. Many of you met him in Las Vegas, Nevada.
I did. Yeah.
He ended up getting sick as well, like everybody else.
He did.
He sure did. Anyway, he's awesome. It was really great to finally meet him in person, and he made us a what he calls a mashup classic. I just realized I haven't heard it yet because I was trying to save it for the show, but I just realized what it is. I think this is me playing video games poorly. Oh boy. Well, anyway, I'm going to play it because not only did I tell him I would, but I also think he does a great job on these. So I guess sorry to your ears for this, but here is a mashups classic from TMS Mashups Jamie. Best of Scott Plays.
Bucka bucka wow wow. Shit, monkeys! I'm doing my nails. Poke them in the bumhole. Let's touch the butthole. Oh shit! 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 No shit! Oh shit! Ooh la la! Ooh la la! Ooh la la la! Ooh la la la! Hey, there's a butthole. Come here, sexy boy. Oh, Mark Knopfler's penis, dude. Freddie Mercury's butthole. Oh la la! Oh la la la! Oh la la la! Get out of there, dick shit! Help me, Jeebus! Oh la! Oh la la! Oh la la! Great mother of fart knucklers. Penis! Penis! Father shithead Sarducci, where are you, you jackin' Oh la 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 la! Shit! Donkeys! Is he taking his big turd head and going, hey, turd Ferguson.
He'll touch it with his potato wiener.
Oh, shit, McGee. Oh, what kind of horse shit is that? Shit, donkey. What's that, my floor avocado? Shit, potatoes. A little dead guy zombie wiener. Shit, potatoes. Shit, potatoes. F you, cactus. Batra! Here we see someone is banging upon our penis. I'm Father Slippy Fingers. Father McFeely, that's what I'm worried about. Boofed! It's like half turd, half goat. Robot taint. Thank you, benevolent butthole. You're the greatest. This game can bite me in the poo. Right in the pooper. Holy McShitty pants. Shitfish. Shitfish. Shit donkeys. La 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 la. La! La! Shit potatoes. I got the vagina coin. Oh la la, oh la la, oh la la. Look at his weird anus. Shit balls. Ew, his mom bits. I'm shooting you in the vagina nest. Get off. That's right. Right in the birth canal. Take it. All right, put that back in my pants. F you, Grandpa. Son of a bitch. La 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 la. Shit patrol. That made a little pee come out.
Your video game streams are quite an anatomy lesson.
Oh my gosh. Not a very accurate one though, clearly.
Potato penises and
that's an old one too. This is like back when I played, I think that was Resident Evil, because I said vagina nest. It's that lady with the bees in her vagina. Wow. I think.
I don't like bees.
Anyway, that was RE7 way back, like years, a pre-pandemic playthrough of that game, and yeah, good times. All right, I didn't expect that to be so enjoyable. So thank you for that, Jamie. That was awesome. That's not true. I expected it to be fine. I just didn't know what it was. All right, that is it for that. Another quick call from Ben about eyelash stuff. I'm glad you're here, Bobby, because maybe you can throw some science at this as well. Here's what he has to say.
Hey, Scott and Brian. This is Ben from Virginia. In episode 2821, you talked about cutting your eyelashes to be more masculine. As a nuclear chemist, I'm constantly cutting my eyelashes so that they don't smear the insides of my safety glasses while I'm working. Watch the fuel glow.
All right. That makes sense. Look at him, another professional in a crazy career thing that listens to the show. Just blows my mind that people listen to the show.
Yeah.
But that makes sense, right? You gotta keep them.
Yeah, I have really long eyelashes, and they sometimes touch the inside of my glasses.
Yeah. I used to have that. Are mine shortening? Because I used to get little eyelash patterns on glasses, and I don't get it anymore. So maybe they've retreated like the rest of my damn hair. You know, I don't know what's going on. Well, thank you for that. That was again Ben, and that sounds like a cool job to have.
Yeah.
All right, couple quick notes. Monday show today at 1 p.m. Carter will be here. I'll be here. Good times, good fun there. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. Got all kinds of stuff to talk about. She went to this Japanese store that apparently is all the rage because they had to wait 3 hours to get in. And it was called, what is it? Pico? Begano? She has headphones on. She can't hear me. It's got a weird name. Anyway, we'll talk about that. That'll be fun. Play Retro today at 4, as I mentioned, with me and Dunaway. So a lot of that going on. And Bobby, we've got to talk about your shows. You've got something new, something old, something in between. No, that's not true. You've got a show that's already established and amazing. And now you got this new thing. So I'll let you describe these things in any order you want and however you want.
Yeah, well, you can always catch me and my co-host Maura, who many of you got to meet in Vegas. Every week we do our science podcast, All Around Science, where it's mostly just her and I just being excited and geeking out about different things that we either have learned about or saw in the news and science, and it's very conversational, very, very fun. We just this episode that just released today, we talked a lot about color and how we see color, how we perceive color, and how colored light moves through different mediums and all kinds of stuff like that. All Around Science. Check that out. But yes, I am pushing and plugging really hard my newest show, Daily Science Brief, which is a daily science news podcast. Right now it's 2 days a week, but starting in June, I'm going to go to 3 days a week. And then over the course of the summer, I'm going to be building up to 5 days a week. And so eventually it is going to be Daily Science Brief. But right now it's 2 days daily.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's just a 10-minute show. So it doesn't take a lot of a commitment. So go and download it or subscribe to it and just pop it into your podcast player and listen to it whenever you have 10 minutes. It just gets you caught up on what's just going on with science and science news. The one that I'm working on now that's going to come out tomorrow is got some stuff about things that we learned about evolution and pushing back timelines for when humans and mammals were thought to have differentiated or separated from the evolutionary line at that point. And also, I'll just drop this here: cervix on a chip. Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Heard me, right?
I mean, I think maybe when I was in Tijuana, they served me some cervix on a chip. But you don't mean you're not talking about like a food item. We're talking about
no, not a food item. I hope not. Oh my gosh. But no, different kind of chip.
I mean, they were pork. They were like pork cervixes. It wasn't like people. It was fine.
No, it was humans. Oh, the ones you ate.
Yeah, the ones I ate in Tijuana. I mean, who knows what I was eating down there? But the point is that you're talking about the reproductive organ unit portion deal of the ladies, but on a chip, which tells me that. What is that? Artificial? Well, I guess I'll have to tune in.
You'll have to tune in to find out what I'm talking about for cervix on a chip. That'll be out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Right now, episodes release Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. But eventually, like I said, every day at 1 p.m. Get your science news. 10 minutes. It's not hard. Just do it. Just listen and be a little bit more informed and impress your friends by how much you know about science.
There you go. There's no better way to do it. So go do that now. Quick note. We are going to be back tomorrow. Myself, Brian will be back. He'll be safely returned from where he is on the road right now.
We hope.
I think he's listening right now. So another shout out to Tina and Tina's mom and anyone else who's in that car besides Brian. Okay? Whoever's there, good luck to you. All right? Godspeed.
Good luck.
Wind to your back is what I'm saying. Wind to the back of your car. May your gas mileage be improved by your return home. Anyway, that's going to do it for that. Frogpants.com/TMS for all your TMS needs. I will now tell you about a song that Brian gave me that we're going to play on the outro. This is a request from Brian because he didn't have any requests for today anyway, so all worked out. He wanted to give me one of his favorites, if not his favorite, travel song, like road trip song. And the one he gave me is Radar Love, you know the song, but did you know White Lion covered it? Oh my Lord. Yes, that's right. Heavy metal legends White Lion covered Radar Love, which is not a thing I knew until he sent me this. So I'm going to play that now for you guys. If you're on the road, perfect. Even if you're not on the road, enjoy this cover, and we'll be back tomorrow. Once again, this is White Lion and Radar Love. Whoops.
Those pants are made for frogging, if you know what I mean. I actually don't. Frogpants.com.
Poo-poo.